When I first moved out from Miami to LA, I came here 2 days after graduation with one of my best friends, Daniel Hernandez, who's an actor, a Juilliard graduate. And for about 2.5 months, I was looking for work and I could not find any work. I didn't know anybody. I came with two bags and I couch surfed on a colleague's couch. I think what my first job was at a club as a barback. And about a week into that job, I got a call to do a documentary in Venezuela. So I said yes. I quit the job and I went to Venezuela for around a month to do a small short documentary. And that, when I came back, gave me the opportunity to apply to some documentary work. So again, applying cold, and I saw an ad for a to be a PA on a documentary. I applied. They said, "Cool, come tomorrow." And oh, and they asked, "Do you know the HVX 200 is a Canon camera?" Oh no, Panasonic camera. And I said, "Yes, I do." And they said, "Great, come tomorrow." I did not know the camera. I knew the previous model, the HDX, which was tape, but the HVX was the first time that they went to digital. They had the P2 cards. So that night I read up on the manual and I said, God, please protect me tomorrow. I walked over to the office. The director is this tall American woman, a war journalist, and then she handed me the camera and said, "Do you know this camera?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "It's the P2 camera." I said, "Yes, I know it." And I opened it up and I turned it on, and she said, "Okay, great." We went to downtown LA. We shot some stuff at some government buildings. It was something about a case. They didn't really tell me what it was. But in that moment, when I was in downtown next to a federal building, a bunch of federal agents came and surrounded me, started asking me questions, who I was, why I was there with a camera. I'm from Venezuela. They came, talked to me in Spanish. They pulled up my whole history. I don't know. They probably had a computer there with everything, my MySpace page at the time. And then so they all saw, the producers saw this from the corner, and when I came back and they said, "Look what happened." I told them that the story, and they said, "That's great how you handled yourself. Come back for the rest of the week." So I did. And then at the end of the week, they said, "Look, we like your work. We want you in for the whole project." And I go, "Great. What's the project?" And they said, "Well, it's a documentary for National Geographic. It's about human trafficking and modern day slavery." And I didn't want to be a documentarian. I wanted to be a narrator. But I said, "All right, I'll do it." Great. Awesome. And the reason why I did it was obviously the experience, obviously Nat Geo, and but also because I knew that from that moment on, I was gonna chase some producers that I had gotten to know at events. One of them in particular, Michael Robin, who when he saw my short film, he gave me his card and he said, "Chase me because I'm very busy. So chase me because I want you to work for me." But he didn't know who he gave that card to. And I was thinking in my head when he did that, I was like, but this guy doesn't know what he just did. So for about a year and a half, I chased him, trying to get a meeting with him, trying to get him postponed and then postponed and postponed. I showed up to the studio. Um, the guard said, "What are you here for?" "I have a meeting with Mike Robin." Great. I did not have a meeting with Mike Robin. I went in. His assistant's like, "Who are you?" "I'm Miguel Ferrer." The guy thought, I don't know, yeah, I was gonna punch him or something. And I said, "No, I just wanted you to see my face so that, you know who I am and I really want to meet Mike. So let me know whenever he's not busy." And I chased him for about a year and a half. Finally, I got a meeting with him. And I knew what I was going to say. One of the things that the reason why I took the Nat Geo job was that I could say in any meeting when people ask me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a cameraman for National Geographic." And already that would put me in the top five people in meetings of that week because not everybody can say that or go in and say that thing. And I said that. And Mike said, how can I help you? And I said, Mike, I will make the best Cuban coffee you've ever had in your life. I will make it here every single day. I want to work with you and I will make it every day. And I knew he liked Cuban coffee, so I had done my homework. He laughed. 2 months later, he gave me a job. I did not have to do the Cuban coffee, but I still made it every once in a while. He gave me a job as a post coordinator, which is there's the post PA and then the post coordinator is the one of the lowest positions in the post production process. Now I told him I wanted to be a director, and I said, post production, like why? Like I want to be on set. But I said, I did not complain and I didn't ask him. I said, thank you so much. I love it. Yes, post-production coordinator, I'm in. And what I realized after is that he had started as a post-production coordinator. And what that gave me was a bird's eye view of the entire process, of the entire filmmaking process from beginning to end of how to make a television show for primetime television. I would get the scripts from the first script, the white script, then you get the blue, the green, the paint pages. I would get all of that. I would be in those meetings to figure out what the post-production needs were. And I was the guy delivering the tape to the studio once it was done. So I saw the entire process for 3.5 years on shows like Major Crimes, The Closer, Rizzoli and Niles, and then I did a bunch of pilots as well. And that gave me the ability to know how to finish a product at a high quality. And then the Nat Geo experience gave me the ability to throw myself off the mountain with a camera and be in situations, perilous situations with the camera. So those two things added up. I started a small company in Burbank gave me an opportunity to start directing music videos. I started doing that with Mike's blessing. I started doing that. Then very quickly, I moved on to commercial work with in Miami mostly with Eric Gennard, who's a very accomplished producer in South Florida. And I did commercials for about 10 years. Um, I got an opportunity to direct a movie for Lionsgate, and I took the job because it was a movie, it was a feature opportunity. It was a great learning experience. It's not a movie that it wasn't my movie. There was a lot of studio meddling, a lot of it was my first experience, and I also wanted to play ball, so too I wasn't too forceful on my vision, and I trusted people that then in the end, you realize people talk a big talk, but they don't deliver. So the movie came out in some theaters abroad and in digital here. It did okay, but it wasn't my movie. I didn't feel the studio had done whatever they wanted to do with it, and I went away from narrative filmmaking because of that experience. And in 2020, I decided right before COVID, actually, I decided I'm gonna start doing shorts again and start building my narrative muscle. Uh, and did a short right before COVID, a 7-minute short as an experiment. I I was in Miami. I said, I'm in Miami. It was a Monday. I'm in Miami until Wednesday of the following week. What am I going to do this weekend? Well, I can go kite surfing on the weekend, or I can do a film, like an experiment. I never done horror. I'll do a horror film. I'll write something. I wrote something. It's like, what do I have? I have my friend Danny who went to Juilliard, who's now living in Miami. I had this location. My friend who's a DP. Let me write something. 5 minutes, five pages, 5 minutes, super easy. I wrote it. I sent it to them. They liked it. I said, cool. We're shooting it on Saturday. So we shot it on Saturday. It was Friday. I didn't have a sound guy. I was freaking out. I found one. I didn't have an actor for the supporting role, so I put myself in the movie. We shot it in 10 hours, spent $1,000 as literally just as an experiment. And we ended up selling it to HBO for $15,000. It was on HBO for 3 years. I made money. Everybody who came in free, I gave them a piece of that. Um, and then I started doing shorts, which is what led to Shadow. all the while doing commercial work, branded music videos. And I feel, I've been incredibly fortunate to, I've worked a lot like an animal. I love this. So it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me on a Friday night, on a Saturday. I will work. People will say, come to the beach. I'm like, no, I gotta do this thing. And I'll enjoy it. It's not a burden whatsoever. I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do. I don't take it for granted. And yeah, that's it. And now with Shadow, coming out and moving on to next other projects and television and other bigger film projects. So it's been a wonderful adventure, and it obviously it hadn't been possible without all these key people that have helped me along the way.